honestly, just keeping it real. That you're not telling me the whole truth.
At some time before she arrived, we believe a vehicle of interest entered that same
So far,
lot.
Dallas police have arrested 2 people in connection with the murder of Kendra Hatcher. But the person who may have planned it all is still on the loose.
All I will suggest to her specifically is that she turn herself in as quickly as possible. She is a fugitive, wanted at this point for capital murder.
Hey you, and welcome. My name, in case you're wondering, it's still Mike. And in this, depending on when you're watching it, new/old video, we're gonna look at a plot of the Bang Bang variety. I'm always surprised they're a real thing. Like, I feel like people watch too much of The Sopranos. Alright, let's get back on track. Kendra Hatcher, a bright, beautiful dentist, was the target. Why? Well, didn't a man fall in love with Kendra? A man by the name of Dr. Ricky Paniagua, Ricky's ex-girlfriend, Brenda Delgado. She was not too happy that Ricky fell in love with someone else. And so, what happened. Now let me tell you what happened. So, Brenda and Kendra, the 2 women at the heart of this case, and in the heart of Dr. Ricky Paniagua. Let's start with Brenda, shall we? Brenda moved to the United States when she was quite young, in 1982, after her father took the family from central Mexico to Dallas, Texas, looking for, as most migrants are, a simple opportunity. While Brenda's father got a job in construction, her mother worked in the US Postal Service and cleaned houses. Brenda herself was determined to excel. Brenda was loved by her teachers, and after she graduated high school, she had dreams to go to medical school, but her family kind of quickly poo-pooed that idea. They simply couldn't afford it. So Brenda ended up working a number of jobs, in a florist's shop, as a waitress, before eventually ending up as a dental assistant in North Dallas. And, in time, she would meet Ricardo Paniagua, an introverted, serious academic who wrote a number of papers with such riveting titles as Selective Tyrosine Kinase Inhibition by Imatinib Mesylate for the Treatment of Autoimmune Arthritis. Fascinating reading, I have no doubt, but sorry guys, I know you're disappointed, don't have time to go through it today. He was in residency in a Dallas hospital, having moved from California, and at the time he was actually finalizing a divorce. So, things between Ricky and Brenda, they hit it off. In November 2012, they moved in together and things were looking good. You probably know by now that if I say that, things are going to go south pretty quickly. In early 2013, Brenda got pregnant, and after discussing it with Ricky, as she decided to have an abortion, it just wasn't the right time. A few months later, Brenda enrolled in the dental hygiene program in Sanford Brown College. And a few months after that, they broke up. Why? Not really too sure. Maybe just Ricky wasn't as serious about their relationship as Brenda was. You'll see she's very serious. She was very serious about their relationship. And, they broke up, but they said they would remain friends. And this is when things get weird. A few months after their breakup, Ricky decided to enroll in a salsa class. I don't know what salsa is. I'm a terrible dancer, just so you know. And who would he meet there? First lesson he goes to, but Brenda. Whoa! What are the odds you're gonna be here? Didn't know you like salsa. They, end up dancing together, and hey, they decide to get back together. They would break up again a couple of months later. So in February 2015, they were officially donezo. But it's kind of strange. Quite the coinky dink, because everywhere Ricky would go, he'd go jogging, he'd bump into Brenda. Go to the store. Hey Brenda, what are you doing here? Anywhere he would go, she was there. Huh. Small town Dallas is, I guess. No, it's actually quite hard to put this on a coincidence when you factor in the fact that Brenda had access to all of Ricky's email passwords, all of his email accounts. She had a secret key to his apartment. She knew all his information on his iCloud. She could log in at any time, and she had GPS location on his phone, so anything Ricky did, Brenda knew about it. Even though they were broken up, Brenda was keeping tabs on him. And on an early June day in 2015, Brenda got some devastating news. Ricky had fallen in love with someone else. He didn't tell her to stick the knife in. He was just like, hey, listen, I've met somebody else, I really, really like her. I'd rather you found out from me than from someone else. And this person he had fallen in love with was Kendra Hatcher. As you can imagine, Brenda was not happy about this. Kendra was from a small town in Illinois. She was an all-American girl, captain of her high school cheerleading squad and the girls' volleyball team, went on church building trips, did Bible studies for low-income children, eventually graduating from the University of Kentucky College of Dentistry, where she would spend her spring breaks working with Habitat for Humanity, traveling to Ecuador to fix kids' teeth for free. She was decent, I guess you could say is an understatement. She, like Ricky, had been married before and had moved to Dallas for a fresh start. And wouldn't she meet Ricky on Tinder in May 2015, 3 months after he broke up with Brenda. So, as you can imagine, this drove Brenda nuts. It was all she would talk about to anyone who would listen. Brenda would go on dates. She would only talk about Ricky and Kendra. A new roommate moved in with Brenda. She would only talk about Ricky and Kendra so much, the roommate got the hell out of there. She began to slyly asking if someone knew someone who would hurt someone. One time she was going for a drink with her cousin at a bar and she brought along a goddamn baseball bat and said, will you take this baseball bat and go and intimidate Kendra for me? Her cousin said no, which I think was the right decision. And Brenda would meet Crystal Cortes, a friend of the roommate, the one that made a hasty getaway because Brenda wouldn't shut the fuck up about Ricky and Kendra. Crystal, again, who worked in a dentist's office. By the way, that's 3 people who work in dentist's office. Crystal, Kendra, and Brenda. Is there something about dentists? Come on, guys. So Brenda began to kind of lure in Crystal. She would take her out for dinner, take her out for drinks. She just wanted somebody to listen to her spouting shit about Kendra and Ricky. And this would culminate with Brenda offering Crystal $500 for an extraction. For days, Brenda and Crystal followed Kendra around Dallas, armed with night vision goggles, covert-like. And one day they met Kristopher Love, a neighbor of Crystal's mother. Kristopher was a small-time drug dealer with a criminal record, and he needed money to start up a prostitution ring. What a piece of shit. So Brenda offered him $3,000 to carry out the mission. $3,000 that was made up of drugs and cash. And meanwhile, around this time, Ricky and Kendra were planning on getting married and were going to move away to California. When Brenda found out about this, she was still hacking Ricky's online shit. She knew something needed to be done, and it needed to be done soon. On the 2nd of September 2015, Ricky and Kendra were actually due to go to Cancun on holiday the next day. Brenda, she thought to herself she definitely needed an alibi for that very day. She met up with a friend of hers, Jose. They went to the library together, and then they went for drinks together and food in Chili's. Now that day, Brenda asked Jose if she could borrow his car. Her one, it was bollocksed. He owned a Jeep, and he said, yeah, sure, if you need to borrow my car for a bit, that's fine. Brenda got hold of Jose's Jeep, she gave it to Crystal. Crystal picked up Kristopher Love, and they went to where they knew Kendra Hatcher lived. They waited in Kendra's apartment parking lot. And as soon as Kendra arrived home after a long day at work, as she was getting out of her car, Kristopher ran up and shot her in the head. He also stole her purse. At the time of the murder, Brenda was in Chili's with Jose having a few drinks. They taxied back to Jose's, Crystal rocked up, hey, here's your car back, Jose. Thanks for lending me your Jeep. And then Brenda and Crystal get out of there. So, the police were on the case. They spoke to a very distraught Ricky. Couldn't believe, his love had been murdered in such a brutal way. And Ricky couldn't think of anybody who would want to hurt her or hurt him. He should have thought a little bit harder. However, as Kendra's purse was missing, the police initially thought it was, robbery gone wrong or something like that.
It's our understanding that last night about 7:45, our victim, Miss Kendra Hatcher, a white female, 35, arrived home at the Gables Park 17 apartments in the 1700 block of Cedar Springs Road. At some time before she arrived, we believe a vehicle of interest entered that same parking garage by piggybacking or following another vehicle in through the gate. And that vehicle parked and waited in a parking space. The vehicle, which is shown on the screen from surveillance video, is described as an older model Jeep Cherokee. It's got faded paint on the hood and a paper buyer tag. When Ms. Hatcher parks her car, an individual gets out of the vehicle of interest, walks in her direction. Witnesses then describe hearing a gunshot. Very quickly thereafter, that individual gets back into the vehicle of interest, and that vehicle then leaves the parking garage.
The police would then later release this image of the vehicle believed to have been involved in Kendra's murder.
Detectives want to find the driver of a Jeep Cherokee. They believe that person may know who murdered a dentist at an uptown luxury high-rise. 35-year-old Kendra Hatcher was found shot to death in the parking garage of the Gables Park 17. Her loved ones tonight do not understand why anyone would target her.
Well, Heather, as shocked as residents are, Kendra Hatcher's family say for them, that feeling is only amplified. The local dentist recently found love and saw herself moving to San Francisco to be with her boyfriend. Hatcher's family say she never mentioned she was in any type of trouble.
Now, Jose, the friend Brenda was with at the time of the murder, he recognized the vehicle because it was his. His Jeep was used as a getaway vehicle in Kendra's murder. So he was obviously quite startled. And he told the police straight away as he was shitting himself. A friend of mine named Brenda and Brenda's friend Crystal borrowed my car that day. Maybe you should look at them. I'm getting scared. The police, they brought Brenda and Crystal in.
Lady was killed on Wednesday. And I'm the guy that's assigned to the case. Your name came up in the investigation. So I wanted to sit down and talk to you and kind of figure out what's going on and get your version of the events. One of the things that I do as a detective, I know you've never been here before. At least I don't think you have.
No.
Okay. So you're probably a little nervous. You don't have to worry about, I'm not going to be yelling and slapping my hand on the table and that kind of stuff. That's not my style. The way that I work, I like to believe what people are telling me. I know sometimes when you're nervous, things may slip your mind or you may get a little hurried and say things a little different. It's cool. Okay, I can understand those things because this is an intense situation for a lot of people.
I understand. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Detective, what did defendant just say to you right there?
She recognized that I was wearing an I am second bracelet. And she said that she reached out to me and let me know that she liked that and that she has one. It caught me off guard. Normally, when we begin an interview, people that are coming to a homicide interrogation room being questioned about a homicide, normally they are a little more closed. She was actually open to the conversation, and it seemed like she was trying to build rapport with me as well. That's what I took that as, like she was trying to relate with me as soon as she came in. That's normally my job, but she beat me to the punch.
A young lady was killed. Kendra Hatcher was killed on Wednesday, September 2nd. Okay. She was dating, I think, a guy that you used to date. The way that your name came up in the investigation was linked to the vehicle. Okay, the Jeep, black Jeep. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit specifically about Wednesday, what you were doing Wednesday, and the incident involving the Jeep?
Of course.
Okay. When did you learn about Kendra?
I have no idea. I kind of see feed, but I really don't know what's going on. I have no idea. But I'm saying, let me know how I can help, or how can I be a source, or.
Oh, no, I'm saying, what did you say? I'm sorry. Oh, you see his feet?
They're sharing, someone was, a feed on Kendra, and that's all I know.
Oh, a feed?
Feed on Facebook.
Okay.
And that's all I know, but I have.
That's how you found out it was from Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Facebook. And then,
were you and her friends on Facebook?
No, I don't know who the girl is. I have no idea.
Once I started asking questions that she was having a difficulty answering, I noticed she kept leaning forward, almost as pushing her breast up. And I don't know if it was some form of distraction, but she was posturing, I felt, to kind of get me off guard or distract the interrogation.
Did you know who she was?
No, I did not.
Okay. So you didn't know that she was?
I have no idea. No, I don't know who the girl is.
This is what I'm saying. Okay. Crystal borrows the Jeep.
Uh-huh.
She borrows the Jeep from your friend.
Yes.
The key thing in all this is you, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why.
Uh-huh.
The Jeep, the way Crystal gets the Jeep is through you.
Yeah.
Okay. The young lady that ends up dead, her boyfriend, the relation is you. You to him to her.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal ends up in this parking garage. Your friend's Jeep, your ex-boyfriend's girlfriend. All three of those things point back to you. That is you. You're the common theme in all of these things. So what I'm asking you is, how does this happen? And that would make me very uncomfortable if my friend was in this area. My friend is borrowing my other friend's Jeep, and my ex-boyfriend's girlfriend gets killed. One of the things that I looked at on the internet the other day, I like to read the comments on the stories to see what people are saying. I looked at comments. You know what people are saying about this? Love triangle. I'm like, that's interesting. I'm going to find out what happened to this young lady. I owe that to her family. I owe that to her mom. Just like I would do the same thing if something happened to you.
Yeah.
You know, one of the hardest things about doing this is having to deal with grieving families. You know, there's nothing that really you can kind of compare that to. But it makes something inside of you. It gives you determination that you're not going to stop until you find out the truth. And so my advice to you is to be honest. Okay?
Yes.
Because your honesty is only going to benefit you. Because I'm going to find out the truth one way or another. Okay? Now, I know that you have communicated with Crystal. I know exactly what this is about. And I understand what it's like to feel like maybe you're not good enough sometimes. I understand what it's like to want something that you can't have. I also know what it feels like to want something so bad that you're willing to do anything for it. Sometimes people do that for money. Sometimes people do that for attention. And sometimes people do that for love. Okay? And I understand those things. I understand how you felt or how you feel. I can't understand why somebody would kill someone else. I've never killed anybody. But I have had my heart broken. And I know what it feels like. There's not a person in this world that hasn't gone through that kind of pain. Now, I can't tell you what was going through your head. I have a good idea, but I can't be a translator for your pain. All of this is revolving around you. This whole thing. And it's all over something that you couldn't have.
Brenda gave them nothing. She was booked in for an unpaid parking ticket, but paid the fine and left. Crystal, however, well, she gave them everything. And looking into her phone records, the police found out about Kristopher Love. And when the police searched Kristopher Love's apartment, they found the murder weapon. So the police, now they had all their ducks in a row. And they went to speak to Brenda. But Brenda was gone.
Over the course of the last month, Dallas Police homicide detectives have been working tirelessly together with our partners at the Dallas County District Attorney's Office and our federal partners at the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office, piecing together information related to the murder of Dr. Kendra Hatcher, who was killed on September 2nd, 2015. Tonight, we announce the arrest of Kristopher Love, black male, 3/23 of 1984, the person we have identified as having shot Dr. Hatcher, and he is currently in the Dallas County Jail on $2.5 million bond. Additionally, we have secured the warrant for the arrest of Brenda Delgado, Latin female, 6/18 of 1982, also for the charge of capital murder for her involvement in the offense.
Do you have a motive?
It was a murder for hire. No, not at this point. I won't discuss or speculate as to where she might be, or all I will suggest to her specifically is that she turn herself in as quickly as possible.
Breaking news, the woman previously implicated as the mastermind behind last month's murder of a dentist in Uptown Dallas has been named as the mastermind. Good evening, I'm Clarice Tinsley.
I'm Brandon Todd, but she is still on the run. Dr. Kendra Hatcher was murdered in her Uptown apartment parking garage a month ago. Police last month already arrested Crystal Cortes, who they say acted as a getaway driver. Tonight, police announced they had arrested the gunman and are searching for that last suspect.
The FBI put Brenda Delgado on its 10 most wanted fugitives list and offered a $100,000 reward for information leading to her arrest. Brenda's family, however, believed she could never be capable of something like this. Brenda was living in Torreon, I'm sure I butchered that, Mexico, for 6 months before they finally found her and brought her back to America. Now, Brenda was both a US citizen and Mexican citizen, and according to Mexican law, she could not be extradited to another country that would seek the death penalty. The American authorities agreed not to kill her, I guess, and she was brought back. But all through this, Brenda had a pretty good alibi. She was at Chili's with Jose having a great time. So the prosecutor arranged a deal with Crystal Cortes. 35 years, parole in 15, if she spilled the beans.
Now, when you are talking about the offense, are you coming up with several plans or just one solid concrete plan?
We're coming up with several plans.
Tell the jury, what were the several plans?
One of the plans were to inject her with the needle. Another plan was to shoot her directly, and another plan was to kidnap her.
Kristopher went on trial first in October 2018. Guilty, and Kristopher Love was sentenced to death for murdering Kendra Hatcher. Brenda's trial began in June 2019. Funnily enough, she organized the entire plot to try and get back with Ricky so she could have him for herself.
You got back to Dr. Hatcher's apartment that night. Tell the jury what you saw.
You know, there was commotion going on outside. There were police vehicles. There was a lot of activity. It didn't even dawn on me. I didn't even consider the possibility of it being related to Kendra. But then when he held up his hand and said, "Hold on," and it bypassed that simple process. And now my mind is starting to jump to worst case scenarios. When I went to the taco stand a little bit earlier, like around 8:15, I had already seen that there was commotion. In fact, I had sent a message to Kendra saying, "Hey, by the way, the entrance to your parking garage seems to be blocked. It doesn't look like you're going to be able to get in. You'll probably have to find another place to park tonight." So then that's where I start panicking. Now the possibility of something happening to Kendra starts to enter my mind, and I'm really I'm scared. I'm panicking. I don't know.
This would be the entirety of her interaction with him during the trial, and well, I guess forever after.
You see Brenda Delgado in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Can you, and I understand it's difficult, can you point to her and describe an article of clothing that she wore?
She's at the end of the desk, and she's wearing a dark jacket.
Crime has a collective practice witnesses identified. Pass the witness.
All right, members of the jury, this is a good time for our lunch break. It's a little bit.
Brenda would be found guilty of capital murder and sentenced to life in prison, no parole. Crazy case. Yeah, although I think all murder for hire cases are by their general nature. And Kendra Hatcher, you know, she was brutally murdered. She seemed like such a good person, just wanted to help people, generous soul, you know. And then, you know, all the other lives that were ruined because Brenda just couldn't move the fuck on. So, instead of getting back with the love of her life, she just got life. No parole. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I'll see you as always real soon in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Mike out.